Savvy developers are
Mhm.
looking ahead, not just what exists now, but what's planned for the future.
So you're not just thinking about getting on the bus today. You're thinking about maybe the train line that's coming in 5 years. I like that forward thinking.
Well, schools and education facilities. That's a big one, especially for families. Being near good schools can make a big difference for buyers.
Yeah, it adds value to the project. How about access to shopping and other amenities?
Definitely. You want to think about places of worship, hospitals, parks, recreational facilities, all those things that contribute to a good lifestyle.
Right. You're thinking about the needs of the people who are going to be living there. Okay, we've looked at the neighborhood. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty of the site itself.
Okay, so first up, the total area of the land versus the usable area. You might see a big plot of land and think, jackpot. But you need to consider things like setbacks and easements. Those can limit how much you can actually build.
Ah, so you might not be able to use all of the land.
That's right, and a few square meters can make a big difference, especially if you're building something like townhouses.
So it's not just about size, it's about what you can do with it. What about the topography of the land? Does that matter?
Absolutely. The ideal site is flat with just a slight slope for drainage. Sloping sites can mean a lot of extra work and expense, things like retaining walls.
So a flat site is going to be easier and cheaper to build on.
In most cases, yes. And here's a tip. A site that slopes towards the street is usually better for access and construction.
Interesting, I wouldn't have thought of that. Okay, what about trees and vegetation? Are those good or bad for a development?
They can be both. Mature trees add value to a property, but they can also be a challenge. You might have to pay to protect certain trees or even remove them, depending on local council regulations.
So those trees can be beautiful, but they can also be a headache.
Sometimes, yeah. And you also need to be aware of things like the vegetation protection overlay.
Mm-hmm.
That can really limit what you can do with the land.
Right, so we need to make sure we're following the rules, even when it comes to nature.